everyone, so welcome to another Wizards Unite video, and before I actually delve into today's topic, which will be talking about proficiency and I think defense breach, let me actually just grab one of these foundables because I'm 100, well, more precisely 74 EXP away from level 38, so I'm just gonna go grab one of these really quick. Hopefully it's something useful. I don't think I need this. Ooh, nice, masterful. So, hopefully we return this on the masterful, so we got the extra XP anyways. Not that I really need it, I just need 74. I think it was 74. Alright, there we go. That should be enough for the next level, and there we go. Got it. Level 39, pretty cool, pretty cool. So, oh, also the login. Oh, the login EXP you would have given to me yet. It's just past midnight here. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about defense breach versus proficiency today. So, folks were talking about it today on Discord, so I thought I'd actually do a video on defense breach versus proficiency. So to start off, just a quick rundown on what proficiency is, or what proficiency power is, and what defense breach is. So defense breach is basically some opponents have some defense themselves. So defense breach just, the amount of percent you have on the defense breach equals the amount of percent of your opponent's defense you bypass. But the thing is, you can't for example, if you have like 20% defensive breach and your opponent has 30% defense and you bypass 20% of that, so basically your opponent they only have 10% defense. But if you have like 50% defense breach and then your opponent only has 30% defense, you don't get that extra 20% damage, you just deal your full damage. It just basically they have no defense, but it doesn't add to your power. So moving on to proficiency power, as folks should know that every profession has something they're proficient against. It's kind of like the concept of like super effective, right? So professors are super effective against curiosities, or proficient against curiosities. Magizoologists are proficient against beasts, and auras are proficient against dark forces. So straight off the bat, let's talk about a defensive breach first, and let's talk about auras first. If you're an aura, you don't need defense breach at all. Like, literally, there's no, why would you use, like, unless you just started playing the game, you haven't had any brilliant events yet, you haven't had a chance to max out your confusion hex, if you're like me, or if you're like me, just started a second profession for aura, then maybe you would want to pick up some early defense breach, but don't spend red books on it at all. Just because aura's confusion hex actually decreases foes' defense. When you max it out, it decreases your foe or your opponent's defense by 60%, which basically covers all the enemies. There's no enemy that has more defense than 60% anyways, so all you need is just throw a confusion hex on it. It just costs one focus anyways, so there's that. And also, if you are a Magizoologist and professor, and if you're playing in a group and you have an aura friend that has a maxed out or even close to maxed out, even level 5 confusion hex, no need to go for a defense breach at all. Just go for proficiency. That's a really easy choice. Aura, don't need to go for defensive breach if you have a confusion hex maxed out, which by the way you should. If you're an aura, you should try to max out your confusion hex as soon as possible. That is probably one of the best skills in the game, so you probably want to max that one out quick. So moving on to professors and Magizoologists, proficiency charm or defense breach. Let's start with Magizoologist. So defense breach, it only works against foes with defense. There's a lot of foes that don't have defense at all. The only two type of foes that do have defense are dark wizards and werewolves, which if you're a Magizoologist and if you've fought one of those before, they might be a bit tough to take down, especially werewolves, since not only do they have defense, you're also deficient to them, so those usually take a while to take out as a Magizoologist. So if you're playing solo, those would be the opponents that would probably want you to, or want to make you to actually increase your defense breach. So, looking at Magizoologist's defense breach, you get the first 5% for free, and then afterwards, there's 3 more. Let me just switch over real fast. Alright, so looking at Magizoologist's defense breach over here, that's not the defense breach, it's down here. So basically, you're getting 4% defense breach for 14 red books and 22 scrolls, which is kind of relevant since scrolls are really easy to get in comparison to spell books. But 4% defense breach, so basically you are lowering your opponent's defense by another additional 4% for 14 books. So that really leads you to think, is it really worth going for this defensive breach? Because this is a pretty heavy price to pay, 14 books. So let's establish this first. There are 2 enemies that you need to use defense breach on, werewolves and dark wizards. There are also 2 enemies that you need proficiency on, which are Urklings and spiders. So both of them, they're basically the same amount, so it's what, a third of a chance that you would use either of these skills, right? Same percentage chance, although the encounter rates, it's not actually that way. But if you, in a vacuum, assuming all their spawn rates are equal, then, you know, they're the same. Although, it seems like the lower chambers, it's easier to face foes that you're proficient against, and then the higher up chambers, they throw you some curveballs. Not that it's been proven, it's just you know, what I've been seeing personally, which you should not take to note at all. It's not scientific data at all. But let's look at the cost here. So for 4% defense breach, you pay 14 red books. So you're basically upping your damage against a opponent with a defense by 4%. Let's look at some of the proficiency nodes here. Let me find one. This is an early on one, right? Okay, let's just, you know what? Let's just go down and look at the most expensive ones, these 2. So these 2 are the end game one. Like the ones up here, the really cheap ones, go for it. Don't even think about it. Just use your red books and buy them, as long as you already worked on your power nodes, right? Your damage ones. And then, you know, the second one, you should, just go for those. So looking at these down here, the 2 really expensive ones that would probably take folks months, if not years to complete, depending on if they have any more of these boosts like what the last community event did. So this one and the last node was the same as well, also for 21 red books. That was 10% proficiency power. This one, the last one, is 13% proficiency power for also 21 red books. The one down here, not this one. The one down here, this one's 25. The next one I can't remember. It's between like 25 and 33. And the last one I think it's 33. I could be wrong, but it's something around those numbers. So looking at this one, you're getting what? The first one's 10% proficiency power for 21 books, which looks like a lot. 21 red books, that's a lot of books, right? But if you compare it to the percentage that you're getting from the defense breach, you're getting 4% for 14 books. Even if you multiply that by 2 to get a closer number, it's what? 28 books for 8% defense breach. Obviously, that's not how it works. I'm not 100% sure how many books the next one costs. Like, even if we give it, the best case scenario, let's give it the same amount of books, 14 books. So that's what, 9% for 28 books. And this one just, straight out just gives you, 10% for 21 books. So I think for Magizoologist, this is a really clear-cut case. If you're a Magizoologist, just go for proficiency. Don't worry too much about defense breach after you finish proficiency. And this is, remember, this is for solo players. If you play in a group, go for proficiency. Even if you don't pair up with an aura, even if it's just a professor, then, you know, professors, they'll deal with the werewolves. You don't have to deal with the werewolves, so that's one less enemy to deal with. So you could, you know, you don't have to worry about that. So you're only like, there's only like one enemy out of like 6 that you have to deal with that has defense anyways, right? So that's for Magizoologist. And let's go over to Professor. Let's check Professor out. So Professor doesn't have too much defense breach to begin with, actually. So they only have 3 nodes here, and if you check the lessons, it's quite straightforward. If I could find it, I think it's somewhere, okay, it's somewhere over here. I think the last one, I think costs, what, 5 books for 7% defensive breach, which isn't a terrible deal, but if you just look down here, it's basically the same deal with the Magizoologist. It's proficiency nodes, they just have a way higher boost for the amount of books you spend. But the thing with professors is they do have to deal with werewolves even in groups. So, especially in groups, they'll have to deal with werewolves a lot. So there is an argument to actually spend on the defense breach. Although, if you're looking at the sheer raw numbers, the proficiency just gives you so much more in terms of, you know, the bang for your buck, right? So, yeah, that's basically it, I guess. In terms of the red book investment, it really seems, you know, either of the 3 professions, Proficiency Power is probably the more superior stat to invest in before defensive breach. So there you have it. Especially if you're in a group playing with an Auror, there's almost no reason to invest in defense breach unless you really want to save Auror some focus and you're like dealing with like really low level opponents that don't have that much defense, that like maybe your own defense breach could almost nullify their defense. But otherwise, in almost all cases, Proficiency Power is just so much more better for, you know, per red book you spend. So anyways, that's gonna be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys are planning to go for down in the comments down below, in terms of, you know, which proficiency node you're on, how many red books it's gonna cost you. I'm at 19 red books right now. I'm trying to go for the next proficiency node over here for Magizoologist, which is gonna cost 21. So I guess that's what, one more level on my challenge before I could grab another proficiency node, which I'm halfway to my next level kinda. So let's see, 600, that's probably it's gonna take me 3 to 4 runs in Forest 5 with my 3 player group, so I could probably get another proficiency boost there. So anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like on the video if you did. Share this video with your friends who also have you know, questions about this. The reason why I did this video was a lot of people are actually asking about this today. So yeah, also subscribe to my new channel for more Wizards Unite content in the future. And also I'm level 39, so that's cool. Almost at the big level 40 mark. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.